All my dear student friends, welcome to this session. Let us study something about the eco-friendly refrigerants. We have seen that refrigerant is the working substance used in refrigerating machines. We also studied several properties of refrigerants, chemical properties, physical properties, thermodynamic properties, safe working properties, etc. But at the same time, it is important to study whether a particular refrigerant is eco-friendly or not. What are the properties of the refrigerant related to the environment? Whether the refrigerant is causing any harm to the environment, whether the refrigerant is responsible for global warming or the ozone layer depletion, what is the ODP of the refrigerant, that is the ozone layer depletion potential of the refrigerant, and what is the GWP, that is the global warming potential of the refrigerant. So these properties of the refrigerants are very important. So from this point of view, we are going to study these refrigerants as the working substance which are used in the refrigerating machines. So these refrigerants, the properties of the refrigerants which are related with the safety as far as the environment is concerned, these properties are equally important, and this we are going to study right now. So we are also going to study the Montreal Protocol, the Kyoto Protocol, the concept of ozone layer depletion, greenhouse effect, global warming, and all these concepts are related with the eco-friendly refrigerants. Let us go ahead. First of all, let us try to understand what is ozone and what is the ozone layer. So this ozone is a substance, it is a compound, it is an isotope of oxygen. In oxygen molecule we are having two oxygen atoms, so it is called as O2. But ozone is nothing but O3, because in this substance, in one molecule of ozone, we are having three oxygen atoms. So that substance is called as ozone, and we are having a ozone layer which protects the earth from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. So how this happens, let us study with the help of this particular picture. So suppose this is the earth, and the earth is surrounded by the atmosphere. So the atmosphere consists of few layers. One layer is troposphere, so that exists from 0 kilometer to 10 kilometer from the earth's surface, and above that 10 kilometer to 50 kilometer we are having stratosphere, and here in between, that is something like 12 kilometer to 15 or even up to 50 kilometers, we are having a layer of this particular substance, this particular compound known as ozone. So this ozone layer is present in the atmosphere, and it surrounds the earth. And the importance of ozone layer is that whenever the sun rays are entering, they are traveling from the sun towards the earth. So these sun rays contain some ultraviolet rays. So the ultraviolet rays from the sun which are coming towards the earth, so these ultraviolet rays, these harmful ultraviolet rays are absorbed by the ozone molecules. They are absorbed by the ozone layer. But if the ozone layer is having some holes, then the ultraviolet rays will directly reach to the earth. So if suppose ozone is not present in this particular area, there is a hole, right? So the ultraviolet rays will enter from the environment, from the sun, and they will reach the earth. And when the ultraviolet rays, the harmful ultraviolet rays, they reach the earth's surface, the life on earth is harmed. So there are several bad effects which are caused not only to human beings but all the life on earth due to the ultraviolet rays, harmful ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. And therefore the ozone layer is very important. This ozone layer should be dense and thick, and therefore the ultraviolet rays from the sun will be absorbed by this ozone layer, and they will be prevented from reaching the earth's surface, and they will not be able to harm the life of on earth. So that is the importance of the ozone layer. Now let us talk about the ozone layer depletion. So what exactly is happening is that the depletion of the ozone layer is nowadays taking place, and this happens due to the chlorine atoms. So exceptionally stable chlorine containing fluorocarbons. So these fluorocarbons are those substances which may contain chlorine. So if the fluorocarbon contains chlorine, so that means if it is a chlorocarbon, so these substances will migrate to the atmosphere, and they will reach up to the ozone layer. They will go up and up, and when these substances are broken by the intense radiation, the chlorine atom is released. So due to the intense radiation of the sun, these substances are broken. These fluorocarbons which contain chlorine or even bromine, they are broken, and the chlorine atoms are released, and these chlorine atoms will go for the depletion of the ozone layer. They will attack the ozone, and this ozone will be converted into oxygen and oxygen atom. So normally what is happening is that the oxygen, it gets converted into one oxygen molecule contains two oxygen atoms, so we can get two oxygen atoms from one oxygen molecule, right? But when this oxygen molecule combines with the oxygen atom, then we get this ozone. O3 is nothing but ozone. So normally this reaction is happening, but in the presence of the chlorine atom which is released by the fluorocarbons, the reaction is retarded, and in this, according to this retarded reaction, this ozone gets converted into oxygen and oxygen atom, oxygen molecule and oxygen atom. At the same time, due to the solar radiation, this fluorocarbon, now this fluorocarbon is dichloro difluoro ethane, methane, dichloro difluoro ethane. That means it is R12, freon 12. So this freon 12 breaks down into CClF2 plus chlorine. So the chlorine atom, one of the chlorine atom is separated from this molecule, and this chlorine atom will react with the ozone molecule, and we get oxygen, and this one atom of oxygen get combined with the chlorine. Later on further what happens is that with this particular chlorine and oxygen combination, one more oxygen atom is combined, and again this chlorine atom is separated, and these two oxygen atoms combine together to form the oxygen molecule O2. So this chlorine is again separated, and it is ready to react with the environment and with the ozone, and further it is going to attack the ozone molecules, and the ozone molecules will be destroyed, or they will be converted into oxygen molecules. So about 1 lakh ozone molecules can be destroyed by one chlorine atom in due course of time. Of course it will take a large time, but a large number of ozone atoms, ozone molecules can be destroyed by one chlorine atom. So this is the harmful effect of the chlorine atoms which are present in the hydrocarbons which contain chlorine as well as bromine. So these are nothing but the CFCs. CFCs means chlorofluorocarbons. So we will be studying later on what are these CFCs and HFCs and HCFCs. So This CFC refrigerant, chlorofluorocarbons. Now this CCl2F2, that is dry chloro difluoro methane, it is CFC. That means it is chlorofluorocarbon, chlorine, fluorine and carbon atom. These three atoms are present in this molecule of CFC. So CFC refrigerant leaked during the manufacturing and normal operation or at the time of serving or repair, mix with the surrounding air and rise to troposphere and then into stratosphere due to the normal wind or storm. So the ultraviolet rays act on the CFC, releasing the chlorine atom, and this chlorine atom, as we have seen here, it is responsible for the retardation of the reaction. This chlorine atom will retard the normal reaction, and instead of formation of the ozone molecule, the ozone molecule is destroyed and oxygen formation takes place, and decomposition of the ozone molecule takes place, and this is totally undesirable, it is totally unsafe, it is not eco-friendly. This particular reactions, retarded reactions, are not eco-friendly, as we have seen that due to the absence or due to the holes created in the ozone layer, the ultraviolet rays from the sun will reach the earth's surface and they will harm the life on earth. So the halocarbon refrigerants are all synthetically produced and were developed as freon family. So they are called as the freons, and that is nothing but the freon family of refrigerants. So these are classified as CFCs, HCFCs and HFCs. So what are these CFCs? So we have seen that CFCs are nothing but chlorofluorocarbons. So the example of chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs are R11, R12, R113, R114 and R115. So these particular refrigerant, these particular compounds, they are harmful for the to the ozone layer, because these compounds will deplete the ozone layer. They will attack the ozone molecule. The chlorine atom which is released from this CFCs will attack the ozone molecule, and the ozone layer will be depleted to a considerable extent. Now other group of refrigerants we are having HCFCs. So HCFCs are nothing but hydrochlorofluorocarbons. So these hydrochlorofluorocarbons are comparatively less harmful as far as the depletion of the ozone layer is concerned, and they are comparatively less harmful as compared to the CFCs. CFCs are most harmful, HCFCs are much less harmful as compared to the CFCs, but at the same time we are having HFCs. So HFCs are nothing but hydrofluorocarbons, and these hydrofluorocarbons are totally unharmful. They are not harmful as far as the ozone layer depletion is concerned. So the examples of HCFCs are R134A, R404A, R407C, R410A. So nowadays this R12 refrigerant, which was the most popular refrigerant, see, 2 decades back, now it has been replaced by R134A, because comparatively it is eco-friendly and its ozone depletion potential is 0, so it will not deplete the ozone layer at all. But this R22 is still being used because it is depleting the ozone layer, but its ozone depletion potential is very low. Now what is this ozone depletion potential? We are going to study later on, but right now we can just know that the ability of this particular substance to deplete the ozone layer is described by this term ozone depletion potential. So this R22 is less harmful as far as ozone layer depletion is concerned. It is less harmful than these CFCs R11 or R12. But R134A, the CF being a HFC, it is least harmful, or it is not harmful at all, because the ozone layer depletion potential of R134a is 0. Now what is ozone depletion potential? So ODP, or the ozone depletion potential of a chemical compound or the refrigerant, is an indication of relative harm, degradation or depletion caused by that particular chemical compound to the ozone layer. So that chemical compound is nothing but we are using it as a refrigerant. So that refrigerant is harming to the environment, to the ozone layer, and how much it is harmful, that is measured or that is described by this particular term known as ODP, ozone depletion potential. So if the value of ODP is less, it means the substance is causing less harm to the ozone layer. So low value of ODP indicate that refrigerant is more safe to the ozone layer and thus the environment, as compared to the refrigerant having more value of ODP, ozone depletion potential. In this regard, the impact caused by CFC 11 R11, so that refrigerant which is called as R11, the impact caused by CFC 11 to the ozone layer is considered as standard. It is reference, and hence the ODP value of CFC 11 is assigned as 1. So that other value will be referred to this. In comparison to this, we can compare the values of ODP for other refrigerant to this value of CFC 11, and therefore we have assigned the value 1 to as the ODP of CFC 11. Thus ODP of a chemical compound or refrigerant is defined as the ratio of the impact of that refrigerant on ozone layer to the impact of CFC 11 on ozone layer. Okay. So since we take the impact of CFC 11 on the ozone layer as reference, and that value of ODP we are considering 1, we have assigned the value 1 as the ODP of CFC 11, and therefore we must compare the harm caused or the impact caused by other compounds, other refrigerants to the ozone layer with the impact caused by CFC 11 on the ozone layer, and therefore ODP of a chemical compound or refrigerant is defined as the ratio of the impact of that refrigerant on ozone layer to the impact of CFC 11 on the ozone layer. Now other CFCs and HCFCs are having ODP values ranging from 0.01 to 1, and halogens are having ODP up to 10. So we can also have ODP above 1. So halogens are having higher ODP, that is up to 10, and ODP values of HFCs is 0. So we have seen that R134a is an HFC, so it is a eco-friendly refrigerant as far as the ozone layer depletion is concerned, because its ODP value is 0, because these HFCs do not contain chlorine atoms. So HFC means hydrofluorocarbons. In HFCs we are having hydrogen atom, fluorine atom and carbon atom. There is no chlorine atom, or even there is no bromine atom, and therefore their ODP value is 0. Let us try to find out the values of the ODP of few refrigerants. So the value of ODP of R11 is 1, that is taken as reference, right? So it is observed that the value of ODP, the ODP value of R12 is also 1, R14 is also 1, the ODP value of R500 is 0.74, R502 0.34. Now R22 is nothing but a HCFC, so that value is low, that is 0.05. So comparatively it is safe. R22 is widely used still, but in due course of time we are also going to stop the use of HCFC, because slightly it is harmful to the ozone layer, because the ozone depletion potential of R22, that is HCFC 22, is 0.05, though it is small but it is not 0. But here we can see that R134A, the value ODP value of R134A is 0, and because it is a HFC, it is neither CFC nor HCFC, it is HFC, and therefore the ODP value of R134A is 0. So nowadays we are using R134A to a great extent, but again we have to study the other properties, that is global warming potential, and the global warming potential of R134 is high, and therefore we are further going ahead to find even better refrigerants whose global warming potential is also 0. So later on we are also going to study what is global warming potential, that is GWP. So this is the once again let us see the ODP values of some refrigerants. R11, which is a CFC, the ODP value is 1, that is reference. R12 again CFC, ODP value is 1. R22, which is a HCFC, it is having a lower ODP value, that is 0.05, right? But this R134 is HFC, its ODP value is 0. Again let me tell you that CFC means chlorofluorocarbon, HCFC means hydrochlorofluorocarbon, and HFC means hydrofluorocarbon, right? So in HFC there is no chlorine atom, right? In HCFC there is chlorine atom, in CFC also there is chlorine atom, but HCFC is comparatively much less harmful. The ODP value is very small, that is 0.05, but it is not 0. And the ODP value of HFC, that is for example R134A is 0. Again R404A, it is also HFC, ODP value 0. R410A HFC, ODP value 0. R507, it is a HFC, ODP value is 0. Now let us come to the some other refrigerants like ammonia, CO2, and these are the inorganic refrigerants. Ammonia, carbon dioxide, and these are the inorganic refrigerants, and as far as the ODP of ammonia is concerned, it is 0, and ammonia is supposed to be one of the most eco-friendly refrigerant because the GWP of ammonia is also 0. So what is GWP? We are going to study later on, that is the global warming potential. So ammonia is the most preferred, but some other properties, some physical properties of ammonia are not so desirable, and therefore we hesitate in using ammonia as a refrigerant. But still, since long time we are using ammonia as a refrigerant, especially in the ice plants, and we are still thinking of continuing this use because this ammonia is quite eco-friendly refrigerant. Carbon dioxide is also having ODP value 0, but there are some restrictions in use of carbon dioxide because the boiling point of carbon dioxide is much higher, and therefore for all applications we cannot use the carbon dioxide as refrigerant. Okay, so these are the values, ODP values of some of the refrigerants which are CFCs, HCFCs or HFCs. Now the environmental and safety properties of the refrigerant, we are defining them as ODP, ozone depletion potential, and GWP, global warming potential. At present the environment friendliness of the refrigerant is a major factor in deciding the usefulness of a particular refrigerant. The important environmental and safety properties are ODP, ozone depletion potential, GWP, global warming potential. So after studying this, let us study what is the Montreal Protocol. The Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer is an international agreement. So this protocol is nothing but Montreal Protocol is nothing but an agreement made by the several countries. It is an international agreement and that is made in 1987, and it is designed to stop the production and import of ozone depletion substances and reduce their concentration in the atmosphere to help protect the earth's ozone layer. So in order to protect the ozone layer of the earth, this treaty is signed, this international agreement is done in 1987, and that agreement is called as the Montreal Protocol. So several countries are coming together and they are taking the decision that they must reduce the use, minimize the use of the substances which are responsible for the ozone layer depletion. So exactly what is the Montreal Protocol? According to the Montreal Protocol, the ODP of the refrigerants used in the various refrigeration systems should be zero. So we can use only those refrigerants in the various refrigerating systems whose ODP is zero, whose ozone depletion potential is zero. So that is the main statement of the Montreal Protocol. That is, the refrigerant should be non-zero, non-ozone depleting substances. So we must use only those refrigerants which are non-ozone depleting substances. So refrigerants like R11, R12, these are the CFCs. They are having non-zero ODP. The ODP value for R11, R12 is 1, and they have already been phased out. So the use of R11, R12 is totally banned according to the Montreal Protocol, and even refrigerants like R22. So the ODP value of R22 is 0.05. It is also not 0, though it is very low. So but in near future this R22 is also going to be phased out as per the Montreal Protocol. Since ODP mainly depends on the presence of chlorine or bromine in the molecules, refrigerant having either chlorine, example CFCs and HCFCs or bromine, cannot be used as per the new regulations as per the Montreal Protocol. Now let us go to the global warming, concept of global warming. It is observed that the global temperature is increased by 0.6 degrees in the last 100 years. This serious and harmful fact endangering life on earth is termed as global warming. The temperature of the earth is increasing every year, and that is termed as global warming. And why this global warming is caused? It is caused due to the environment unfriendly activities of human beings, like increased fossil fuel combustion. So the human beings are especially responsible for the global warming. The environmental unfriendly activities of the human beings, like increased fossil fuel combustion leading to the liberation of carbon dioxide, then changed agricultural practices, cutting of forest, liberation of greenhouse gases in the environment. So these activities of the human beings, they are lead to the global warming. Global warming also leads to adverse effects. What are the harmful effects of the global warming? So this global warming leads to the adverse effects on the climate, early melting of snow, rise in sea level and coastal flooding, acid rains, more frequent and intense storms, floods and droughts, etc. So these are the harmful effects of global warming. And now let us go ahead to study the greenhouse effect. What is the greenhouse effect? So as we have seen, this is the earth and it is surrounded by the atmosphere. So it consists of troposphere, stratosphere. The troposphere extends up to 10 kilometer, away from the earth's surface radially measured, and 10 to 50 kilometer we have the layer of stratosphere. So the radiations of the sun, they are coming on the earth, but some of these radiations, much of these radiations are reflected back, and therefore the temperature of the earth is not rising so much. It is not rising continuously. There is a balance between the heat energy input and the heat energy output, because the radiations from the sun are reflected back in the atmosphere and they are going away from the earth's surface. But what is happening is that there are some greenhouse gases. Due to the presence of the greenhouse gases, these radiations which would otherwise get reflected back, they are absorbed by the greenhouse gases, and this heat is remaining on the surface of the earth. This heat which is absorbed by the greenhouse gases, it remains on the surface of the earth. So these greenhouse gases are nothing but carbon dioxide, ozone, nitrogen oxides and methane, etc. So these greenhouse gases will absorb the radiations which would otherwise get reflected back, and they will increase the temperature of the earth's surface, and that will cause the global warming. So that is quite harmful, and that effect is known as the greenhouse effect. This effect is called as greenhouse effect. So the global warming potential of these refrigerants, of some of the refrigerants, we have seen that R11, which is a CFC, the ozone depletion potential is 1, and the global warming potential is also high, that is 4000. The global warming potential of R12, which is a CFC, is 8500. The global warming potential of R22 is comparatively lower, that is 1500. The global warming potential of R134A is 1300, though its ODP is 0, but GWP is 1300. Therefore we have a question mark that though the global warming potential of R134A is 0, but since the global warming potential is 1300, the ODP of R34A is 0, but GWP is 1300. Therefore we have a question mark that up to what extent we must use this R134A, or we must stop the use of R134A, and we have to go for then refrigerants like ammonia. So here we can see that as far as the environment is concerned, as far as the eco-friendliness is concerned, ammonia is at the top, because you will find that the ODP is also 0 for ammonia, global warming potential is also 0 for ammonia. These other refrigerants are having quite high values of global warming potential, but ammonia is having 0 value for global warming potential as well as ozone depletion potential. Carbon dioxide is having ODP 0, but global warming potential is 1. Again, that is a reference. The value of carbon dioxide is taken 1, that is a reference value, and it is used for comparison. So the value of GWP, it is assigned as 0 to carbon dioxide, so that that can be referred and other values can be compared, and according to that we are getting these values. For example, R11 GWP is 4000. That means the global warming, the effect, the impact on global warming done by R11 is 4000 times more than carbon dioxide, right? So these are the values of global warming potential and ozone depletion potential. Now when we talk of the eco-friendly refrigerant, when we want to say whether a refrigerant is eco-friendly or not, we must see the ozone depletion potential and global warming potential. Both the values should be low or 0. Then we can say that it is a eco-friendly refrigerant. So here we can say that ammonia is a eco-friendly refrigerant because the ODP is also 0 and global warming potential is also 0. Now R134A, though the ODP is 0, but global warming potential is 1300, and therefore comparatively it is less eco-friendly as compared to ammonia. So now let us go study what is the Kyoto Protocol. There is one more protocol, one more treaty, international treaty. So Kyoto Protocol is also an international treaty that commits state particles to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. State parties, that means the several countries which are following the Kyoto Protocol, they must reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. So this commitment is based on scientific consensus consisting of two parts. So the scientific knowledge we are using, and this scientific knowledge consists of two parts. Part 1 is nothing but global warming is occurring, and part 2 says that it is extremely likely that human made carbon dioxide emissions have predominantly caused it. So the human made carbon dioxide emissions, they are predominantly responsible for the global warming. So this fact is considered, this technical fact, this scientific fact is considered while signing the Kyoto Protocol, and that is an international treaty, and it commits the state parties to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and it is considered that it is the fact is considered that the global warming is occurring, and this global warming is due to the human made carbon dioxide emissions. Now this Kyoto Protocol was adopted in Kyoto, one city in Japan, on 11 December 1997, and it was entered into force on 16 February 2005. 192 parties or countries are currently bound by this agreement, and later on, although Canada withdrew from this protocol. So that is about the Kyoto Protocol. So finally we are talking about the eco-friendly refrigerant. We have seen that ammonia, that is called as R744, it is the eco-friendly refrigerant, most eco-friendly refrigerant. Okay, so CFCs are not eco-friendly at all, so we have to ban the CFCs, and we have to use the eco-friendly refrigerants like ammonia, and we are having some alternatives for CFCs, that is HCFC, that is R22 and R124. So the ozone depletion potential, as we have seen, the ozone depletion potential ODP of R22 is 0.05. So it is much less, but it is not 0, and therefore we go for HFC like R134A and R152A, and the ODP, ozone depletion potential of the HFCs, is 0, but the global warming potential is not 0 for these HFCs. So we have to use the natural refrigerants, inorganic refrigerants like ammonia and hydrocarbons. So this ammonia is having ODP value 0 and GWP value is also 0. So this it is better to use the refrigerants like ammonia as far as the environment friendliness is concerned. So that is all about the eco-friendly refrigerants. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you very much.